The god Silenus was renowned for consuming wine till he passed out. He enjoyed drinking, dancing, singing, and napping. Ovid tells of Silenus drifting off on one of Dionysus's travels as a companion and getting caught by the men of Midas. According to a different version of the tale, Midas deliberately set out to entice Silenus to his palace by either building a wine fountain or filling a spring with wine. Midas successfully seduced Silenus, and as soon as the deity dozed out, he grabbed him. Regardless, Silenus found himself in Midas's palace, where the god was received as a distinguished guest. It's interesting to note that Midas had previously met Silenus because he had already been inducted into the mystic rites of Dionysus. Ovid even claims that they were longtime friends. Therefore, it should come as no surprise that Midas threw an extravagant 11-day party in order to appease him. Once the party was over, Midas brought Silenus back to Dionysus, who was extremely worried about his favorite companion. To show his gratitude to Midas for treating Silenus well, Dionysus offered the king one wish. Blinded by greed, the king said, "What I want is that everything I touch be turned into shining gold." Welcome to the History Realm. Today we will go over the story of King Midas and his adventures. Make sure you subscribe to support the channel. Anyways, Dionysus granted the wish knowing that it would not lead to anything good. As Midas walked away joyfully, Dionysus was saddened because he could see the misfortunes that would befall the king. Midas immediately began testing his new power, although at first he was hesitant. He pulled a twig from a holm oak, and to his own surprise, the twig turned to gold. He then lifted a stone, and this turned to gold too. Next were a clod, some grain, wheat, and some apples. Everything turned to gold. When he returned to his palace, Midas found out that he was leaving golden door handles behind him. The first problem appeared when he tried to wash his hands and the water turned into a golden rain. However, the king did not realize the implications of his wish until he had to eat. Bread, meat, wine, and even water turned to gold as soon as they came into contact with his hands or mouth. In some modern retellings of the myth, Midas unwillingly even turns one of his daughters into a golden statue when she enters the room and hugs her father. The golden blessing had turned into a golden curse as Midas began suffering from hunger and thirst. He prayed to Dionysus, asking for his wish to be reversed. "I have done wrong, but pity me. I pray to you to save me from this curse that was so fair." King Midas asked for help. Dionysus felt pity for the king and helped him. He instructed Midas to depart to the stream that flows by that great town of Sardis. Follow the waters upward to the Lydian heights to the source and plunge yourself in the spring that will take away your curse. King Midas acted accordingly and bathed in the river's waters. As the curse lifted, the river was filled with gold. Midas was finally free. The river where Midas washed away the curse was the river Pactolus, known in antiquity for its golden reserves. When he turned home, everything Midas had touched had become normal again. He even touched the like button below to support our channel. Anyways, Midas hugged his daughter in full happiness and decided to share his great fortune with his people. From now on, Midas became a better person, generous and grateful for all the goods of his life. His people led a prosperous life, and when he died, they all mourned for their beloved king. In another legend, after the curse of his golden touch was lifted, King Midas gave up his throne and worldly goods to become a devotee of the god Pan, or in other ancient accounts, the satyr Marsyas. They made their way to Mount Tmolus together. There, Pan performed his music for the forest's nymphs and declared it to be better than Apollo's music. As soon as word got out, Apollo issued Pan a challenge to a duel, with Mount Tmolus serving as the judge. Pan played some rustic sounds with his aulos or pipes, followed by the sound of Apollo's lyre. For Tmolus, it was crystal clear that Apollo's music was superior, and everyone in the crowd agreed. Everyone, that is, excluding Midas, Pan's devoted disciple. Midas publicly questioned Tmolus's decision-making, but this was arrogance, a mortal judging a god, and it could not stand. Apollo made the decision to chastise the mortal by giving him donkey's ears in place of the human ones that had deceived him. Midas, ashamed of his ears, lived his life hiding them under a purple turban. He was careful not to let anyone know his secret, but there was one man who knew: Midas's hairdresser. Of course, Midas had sworn the man to secrecy. Besides, the hairdresser himself did not want to betray the secret. However, he felt that the secret was too much to bear. He had to tell it to someone, or at least say it out loud. So he went to the forest, dug a hole, and whispered in the hollow earth, Midas has an ass's ears. He then buried the whisper and left. From the hole a grove grew, which finally told the secret to a wind that carried the words to a nearby city. Before long, everyone knew that Midas had the ears of donkey. Seems like he just spread the rumors himself and blamed the wind. A lack of accountability. The story of Midas's touch has a rather clear didactic message. Midas is the richest man alive, but he is greedy and seeks to become even richer. What he asks from Dionysus demonstrates his arrogance and obsession with excessive material wealth. In the tale, Midas achieves his goals only to discover that pleasure cannot be attained by worldly goods alone, and that there are other things in life that are more significant than gold. Furthermore, owning gold is not as rewarding as owning the things that gold can purchase, because gold has no intrinsic value. For this reason, at the conclusion of the narrative, Midas gives up everything, his fortune and kingdom included, in order to tour the world with Pan and encounter the priceless parts of life. Well, there you have it. Leave a comment below if you enjoy this story. Until next time, on the History Realm.